All right, today, guys, we are going to talk about my 6-month experiment doing the abundance approach and working on my LDL cholesterol. So, I went to the doctor back in February, and she informed me that my LDL cholesterol was at a level that they wanted something to be done, right? It was at 131. And apparently, the new cutoff for what's considered a good cholesterol is 100. So she said that, of course, I'm 46, going through some hormonal changes. This is a very, very common thing for women in perimenopause to see cholesterol levels change. So it's not necessarily, because nothing in my life really has changed. I still work out, I still eat healthy, eat crazy amounts of vegetables and protein. But your body deals with it differently as hormones change. And many people in even our half-size me community have shared this, that they've noticed their cholesterol has changed as they've gotten older and they're going through perimenopause. So this hopefully will be very helpful for any of you struggling with this. So she said, how about this? Because I told her I already had a plan. I saw my stats and I told her I had some ideas. And what I had found was 2 things really would impact my cholesterol. 1, weight loss. 2, a change of diet. Well, I don't necessarily really want to lose a whole lot of weight, but they even said a very small amount of weight would help. So I decided that I was going to take 6 months of doing my very own abundance weight loss plan, which again, there's a video for, but I'm going to recap it here, and eating a different level of saturated fat. So I did research, found out that 13 grams of saturated fat per day tended to have a positive effect on someone's LDL cholesterol. So I went back through my food log, see how helpful it comes in? Even when we're not talking about weight loss. I went back through my food log, set it to where I could actually see my saturated fat intake, and I realized I was eating the normal amount of recommended saturated fat, which I think was somewhere between 20 and 25 grams per day. So the 6-month abundance approach was I track my food up to maintenance. I don't make weight loss a goal. It's mostly a psychological shift. Normally when people get scary information or information they feel they got to take drastic action on, the lower brain kind of goes into hyperdrive. I see this all the time, right? My doctor's going to put me on statins. My doctor's going to put me on blood pressure medication. Let's batten down the hatches. I'm pre-diabetic. Let's go kind of crazy. And often what I see happen because of that is people then start to kind of binge or eat in a way, Last Supper mentality, right? They kind of go the other extreme. So the abundance approach is simple. You plan up to your maintenance day. You don't make weight loss a goal in the sense of like you're not obsessively focusing on it every day. I never wrote it in my goals every day. And then I tried to check in with myself through the day. What of this meal might I be willing to let go of without resentment? And what was happening was I kind of noticed over the 6-month time period, I was eating about 200-ish calories below maintenance. In the 6-month period, it was great because without the obsessive thought of, oh my God, I gotta lose weight, gotta get this cholesterol down, gotta do this, without this drive of, I gotta hit this calorie target, gotta hit 1,800 calories every day, gotta make that happen. Without that obsessive thinking about it, my lower brain chatter was so much quieter around this entire process. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about lower brain chatter, go watch the video series Thinking Leads to Eating. I have an entire YouTube playlist that explains lower brain chatter. But I focused every day. I could have up to maintenance. I could, and there was days I ate way above maintenance. This was my average for 6 months. I came 200 under. There were some days I went over maintenance, but I never really obsessed about any of it. In the course of the 6 months, my weight dropped down 5 pounds just from doing this approach. It was so much less stress. I dare say somewhat enjoyable. The only place that my lower brain really kicked in, and I'm sure you guys can all resonate with this, was when you step on the scale and maybe 1 month I only went down 0.5 pound on the scale, right? But another month I went down 1.5 pounds, right? It didn't really matter. But as I was seeing my progress, it was incremental, small, little progress over 6 months. And it was a good amount of weight for what my goal was. And it was totally I could totally manage it. And the reason this is such a good approach is I look back at my 20-something self, and I used to say, if instead of for the last 10 years, having highly restricted and then binged and gained weight, if I just lost 1 pound, 1 pound every month for that 10 years, I would have been down 120 pounds. But if you asked me, my 20-something self, if you would do that, I would have freaked out. I've been like, are you kidding me? 10 years, 120 pounds? But I gained so much weight in that time period, easily that 120 pounds. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is this is the knowledge I wish I had had then. This abundance approach checks the lower brain out of it, a lot of it, because I'm not obsessed about weight loss. I'm going to eat up to my maintenance calories every day if I want to. And if I see, oh, you know what, I'll do a half a piece of cheese on that sandwich, great, save yourself those calories. It's not a pull, it's not like a push and pull feeling. It's easier feeling. That's really the easiest way I can explain it. The 13 grams of saturated fat per day, that took a little time for me to adjust because there were some products I had to phase out. And then, kind of get used to eating a little bit differently around certain meals. But honestly, now it's not a big deal. But at the beginning, it just took a little bit of learning and changing. And it's also going back to the victim mentality. Oh my gosh, I'm getting older. My LDL is doing this. This sucks. Why can't my body just cooperate and do what it's supposed to do? It's doing what it does. I can argue this point all day long, but this is my reality, right? And actually, this is the mindset I had when I lost my weight. Like, okay, yeah, all this crap happened to me when I was a kid. Yes, I had these bad experiences. Yes, I have trauma or whatever, but boo-hooing over it isn't getting me any healthier. It's not getting me any thinner. I'm just sitting here in my own sadness and piling on weight. Why not focus on losing the weight? And yes, the sadness will still be there, but I don't have to make my problems double, right? Same thing with this. I can look at this as I'm a victim of aging. I'm a victim of perimenopause. Why? How does that help me, right? So just want to encourage you here, if you've always gone balls to the wall with your weight loss, if you've always felt you've got to be rigid and restrictive, you've got to get the weight off quickly, you've been in that mindset, I'd really encourage you to think about the abundance approach to weight loss. It was much easier. So average weight came down 5 pounds. I ate at about a 200 calorie deficit for that time period. My saturated fat intake was at 13.6 for the full 6 months. My LDL cholesterol went from 131 to 99. So my doctor was thrilled. She was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So a 32-point drop in cholesterol, which was huge. All my numbers improved, by the way, not just the LDL. So I just want to share this with you, one, to empower you to realize you can make changes whenever you want. 2, you don't have to be a victim of your circumstance. 3, you don't have to do crazy rigid things to get there. You could take a totally different approach. And again, the abundance weight loss approach, it's not really like a checkoff list of things to do. It's more about a mindset shift. Oh, I don't have to lose weight. If I'm the same weight 6 months from now, great. If I lose a couple pounds, great. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to plan my day up to maintenance, and I'm going to ask myself, check in through the day, what would I be willing to let off my plate? What would I be willing to let go of food-wise? Some days the answer may be nothing. Some days the answer might be this, that, and the other. And then what that does is it doesn't feel restrictive and rigid. It feels open. It feels like you've got a choice. And the less restriction, the less tightness, the less rigidity around it, the easier it is, and the less for your lower brain to have things to say about. If you start out going, okay, gotta drop this cholesterol, I'm gonna go down to 1,500 calories, gonna eat that 13 grams of saturated fat Heather told me about, gonna do this, that, and the other, and this is the goal. This is what we're doing. Right away, you'll feel the anxiety start to shift. So what if you didn't take that approach? What if you took a totally different approach? So anyway, if you really want more information, like I said, I'll try to put the abundance approach video in the notes here on this one. But I would encourage you to not feel like a victim of circumstance. I also want you not to feel like you have to lose weight by being overly restrictive, because you don't. I hope this really helps, guys. You have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.